Have you ever encountered individuals who, despite being stupid, believed they were incredibly smart, acting all cool and thinking they knew it all? I have. Furthermore, I've come across numerous genuinely intelligent and interesting individuals who were very modest and believed they knew very little. They were constantly learning, and I became curious about why this phenomenon occurs. Why do those who are competent doubt themselves, while less qualified and knowledgeable individuals see themselves as geniuses? Today, let's delve into this in detail. Hello, everyone. This is a blog about life, psychology, and how to make it a bit better. Today, I'll try to answer the question, why do unintelligent people think they are smart, and how can we avoid falling into this trap? But before we begin, I have a small task for you. Draw a square on a piece of paper and color it in according to how competent you feel in your profession. For example, if you believe you've mastered your profession 100%, color the square completely. If it's 50%, color half, and so on. At the end of this video, we'll revisit this square, and I'll explain what it all means. Okay, let's get started. Sorry, but everyone is somewhat unintelligent because there is always an area or field where we lack knowledge. Unfortunately, we often don't want to admit this because we all like to believe that we are better than others in some way. Ironically, this belief makes us people with average knowledge, and this is best described by the Dunning-Kruger Effect. This effect helps us understand why foolish people are actually much more confident in their non-existent skills and abilities than those more experienced than them. The effect is rooted in the fact that people with low competence make flawed conclusions and poor decisions, but their incompetence prevents them from realizing this. As an example, let's consider the show America's Got Talent. Remember how many peculiar individuals came to sing, doing it so poorly that we even felt a bit sorry for them. There were many such people, and believe me, most of them had no idea how terrible their singing was. This is the essence of the Dunning-Kruger Effect. This effect was first described in 1999 in a study by social psychologists David Dunning and Justin Kruger. They compared a person's actual abilities with their perception of those abilities. During the experiment, they asked people to take tests on logic, humor, and grammar, and then self-assess how well they had performed. Those with the worst results were most prone to overestimating their performance and believed they would have a high and excellent result. And that's how they discovered this effect. According to it, we can divide people into two categories: incompetent and competent. Incompetent individuals are unaware that they lack knowledge, cannot assess others' high level of expertise, and the higher they rate themselves, the worse their knowledge. Due to their incompetence, they make incorrect decisions and have a negative attitude towards criticism. Not very appealing characteristics, right? So let's explore who competent people are. Competent individuals often underestimate their abilities. They believe there is nothing special about their knowledge, or that everyone knows the same as they do. If successful, they think the task was easy, but they handled it well due to their skills. Here, I want to draw attention to an interesting phenomenon often observed in competent people, the impostor syndrome. It is the flip side of the Dunning-Kruger effect. It involves undervaluing our successes, thinking they happened by chance rather than our efforts, and overall, feeling undeserving of what we have. We'll talk a bit more about this later in the video, and you might wonder how this information will help you in real life, and why you should pay attention to this effect. I'll tell you that shortly. There's one problem, though. We can all suffer from this effect in different areas of our lives, being experts in one field and complete novices in another without even realizing it. But if we understand how this cognitive mechanism works, we can more realistically assess our stage of development and what to do next. So imagine you've just started learning a new profession. At this moment, your competence and confidence are at zero. As you acquire basic knowledge, you feel an influx of energy and high confidence in your competence. This is a very dangerous period because if you stop now and don't continue learning, not delving into the specialty, You'll think you already know everything and make mistakes at work. This is precisely when the Dunning-Kruger effect comes into play. However, if you continue to develop in your chosen field, learn more about your job, make mistakes, and see how complex this field really is, you'll realize how much more there is to learn. At this point, your confidence begins to plummet. Often, this time frame is also called the Valley of Despair. Different people experience it differently. Some get stuck at this stage, doubt their abilities, or even give up on their chosen path. On the contrary, some start learning intensively through courses and training to increase their competence. Support from a supervisor, colleagues, mentor, or coach can also help you at this stage. Continuing on this path, you gain experience and knowledge. As a result, your self-esteem increases, you become more confident, and gradually, you achieve a high level of competence and confidence. At this point, it may seem like everything is fine. You are no longer that foolish person who thinks they are smart. Your confidence has grown. However, at this moment, you encounter the second part of the Dunning-Kruger effect, the impostor syndrome, which I mentioned earlier. Once, Socrates said, "I know that I am intelligent because I know that I know nothing." And this statement perfectly describes the reverse side of this effect. When you are already competent in something, you begin to see more and more that you actually know very little, and there is still a lot for you to learn and discover. I want to share a quote with you that will help you understand why this happens. There are known knowns. These are things we know that we know. There are known unknowns. That is to say, there are things that we know we don't know. But there are also unknown unknowns. These are things we don't know we don't know. Often, when you already have a lot of knowledge about something, the percentage of the known unknowns in you is even greater than it was at the beginning. That's why you might feel like you know nothing at all. In a sense, this is a manifestation of wisdom, which is not about correctness and confidence. Wisdom is knowing that even if you already know a lot, there are countless things you have no idea about. So don't be afraid to make mistakes and admit that you don't have all the answers. Failures are also part of learning. The only way to improve and become more knowledgeable is to first acknowledge how wrong and naive we were when we thought we knew everything. Lastly, let me share an interesting fact. We all know Socrates' quote that I already mentioned in this video. I know that I know nothing. Do you know that it has a continuation? And it perfectly summarizes my video today. So the full quote from Socrates is, "I know that I am intelligent because I know that I know nothing, but others do not know this." Therefore, I want to say that admitting that you are truly foolish is the first step to being wise and avoiding the Dunning-Kruger effect. I'll give you a few simple pieces of advice. First, acknowledge that you are foolish and know nothing. Second, continuously learn, always. And third, find a mentor, coach, or guide who has more experience and can help you when needed. Because sometimes we may just not know that we don't know something. That's all. Now let's finally go back to the square you drew at the beginning. Remember it. How did you color it? Is it fully colored or half? Maybe 20%? How you colored the square will help you understand if the Dunning-Kruger effect is present in your life right now. Think about where you are on this graph and analyze your result. What will your conclusions be? Are you overestimating yourself or underestimating yourself? Write about it in the comments. I'm very curious. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself. And of course, keep going.